So when you're actually designing saxophones for different individual people, you end up. I like to know them first as a person because I can actually understand, more of the what they're actually wanting out of a saxophone. Then I'll study the music. I'll listen to the music a lot more, and I'll try and work out where they're actually what they're actually wanting from a saxophone. And usually they'll have been playing a saxophone for say 20 odd years before, and they'll be very used to that saxophone, and they'll know the actual characteristics of that saxophone, so they'll be able to work with it. So like an old com has a few tuning faults, you can actually alter that with your throat and actually change that in the sound that you're actually trying to do. What I'm trying to do is build a saxophone where they don't have to do that, so it's a bit more natural. What we try to do is to make it a bit like when you're playing chess. You actually stage ahead, so in your mind, do you ever get to the point where you're actually thinking, have I left the kettle on? When you've actually left the house, but you've actually turned the kettle off, and it's that way your brain's actually turning the kettle off without even thinking of it, because it's a natural thought. Well, it's the same when you're playing chess. You're actually 2 or 3 stages ahead. What we're trying to do with that is build that into the actual music. So if I make the saxophone so you're not having to compensate by, it's going a bit thin in the top, I'm needing to fatten it out a little bit, or I open my throat in this position, well, it's a bit flat on this top F, I have to sort of alter my embouchure to cope with that. If I build a saxophone that's got actually that into it, that actually suits that person, what you end up with is it brings more out in the playing. So as they're actually playing, they're actually thinking, I'll give this a go. Oh, wow, that works really well. I'll give this a go. Oh, God. And it actually brings more out in the playing. So I actually take a saxophone, standard body saxophone, and I'll work with the different materials. So it might be brass, or it could be more copper in it, which is red brass. It could be solid copper. It could be anything, materials that you're wanting to work. The softer the metal, i.e. copper, is softest that I work with, the warmer the sound. But you can actually go too warm, you can actually go too muffled. So if the player is a ballad playing, you'd put more copper in it. If the guy is a bit more attack type of playing, I'd use more yellow brass with a little bit of maybe silver nickel in it as well. And all these bring different varieties through. So I might put a copper neck on a yellow brass body, or I might put a yellow brass neck onto a red brass body, or I might put a red back onto a yellow body, onto a yellow bell. So it just depends on how I think that person will actually suit. And then I can alter the key heights, I can alter the tone hole heights, which each individual notes actually get tuned then according to how that person plays. And then, you work with it all, you do the key work that you know how he sort of works with the key works, the key heights. Obviously it's padded with the highest quality pads, it's you use the highest quality materials on the actual saxophone, and this is for longevity, because I've repaired for 40 years now. I know I don't look that old, but I am. What you end up with is you learn how all the faults in all the other instruments, because I've worked on every brand, every model of instrument. I also do brass repairs as well. So I can actually build into the actual sound and the actual way I'm actually working the instruments from both avenues, and there's not many designers in the world that can actually do it. They're either saxophone ones, or the clarinet designers, or the trumpet designers, or whatever, because I don't have any restrictions. If you imagine, if you actually set a wall and that's your achievement that you actually want to get to, then you're never going to get higher than that achievement. So you've got to have boundaries. You've just got to go, I can do this. And if you've never done it before, just get on with it. So when I'm actually designing, what I do is I put the music on the album, like Jerry Begonzi, I'll put Lineage on, and I'll put it really loud. It's so loud that if you were to walk in the room, you'd think, how does he concentrate with the music that loud? But what it does is it puts me into an out-of-body experience. When I'm in an out-of-body experience, I can't actually hear the music at all. I'm just focused. What I'm trying to actually get is the frequency of me as a person in my actual soul that actually puts into that horn, and I'm working with them as their personality and them as a person. So people who don't actually understand the universe and how the actual universe works and how frequencies work, not the frequency of your saxophone, but the frequency of you as a person, putting it into the molecules of the actual brass. When I hand somebody the saxophone, their instant response is, it just sounds like me. How have you done that? and this is how I've done it. Put it in with the frequencies. So what we're going to do now is we're going to watch a few video clips. So we'll watch the Jerry Bergonzi ones. Now I've put one there. Excuse the quality of it because it was just done on my iPhone. But this is Jerry getting his first saxophone. And then the second video is what Jerry's very kindly done as an endorser of the saxophone. He's done it at his house, and he explains why he enjoys the saxophone and what he's actually getting out of it, and then he plays it for you, so you can actually hear him playing it. So enjoy.
Oh my goodness. Holy shit. Oh, look.
So it's all the pyramids.
I love
Egyptian.
Egyptian stuff, yeah.
Naked women.
Of course. What's
Look
that
at that one,
one?
that's a beautiful Egyptian.
Awesome.
I put your name on it,
Whoa.
and I put guns on there.
Wow. Unbelievable.
So again, it weighs very little.
It weighs very little.
Now the neck on here is the beautiful necks.
Oh my God, look at that.
So this is a free floating neck that we did. They're a bit like Francois ligatures.
Yeah.
You've just got to be a bit careful putting them on. But once they're on, the sound wise is great. That's it.
Yeah, you never met anybody as careful
Yeah,
about
we
putting a
did.
neck on. I tell all my students, you hold it here,
Yeah.
you don't hold it here, you're gonna bend that neck. Yeah. Did you do anything to this neck? Did you
Yes.
did you make it skinnier like
It
that?
should have the same adjustment to it. Does it feel like that?
Yeah, it feels great. It feels like that one.
Yeah. Good.
It feels broken in too.
Yeah.
You got the springs nice and light,
Yeah,
just like
I've
I
done-
like
I've done
them. Just
like
like an
that,
old
yeah.
motherfucker who doesn't like heavy springs. You know what, man? That neck is the bomb. I
You
love
like
the
it?
way that. It's so unique.
Yeah. Well, you said to me that was like a Taiwanese horn,
Yeah,
and you said do something that looks different.
you got it, man. You
And
can
that's
do
what I
it.
come up with.
Unbelievable. Dave, you're the man. To build a quality instrument in today's world,
You can't do it.
you can't do it.
No.
I've known Dave for quite a few years now. Every time I have a gig in Leeds, I get to see him, or sometimes when I'm playing in London, we'll meet. And he's been working on the saxophone for 6 years, and it really is a fantastic instrument. Modern day, unlike copies of other instruments, it's an original. Although it has a centeredness of a con and the big woof of the centeredness of a Selmer and the big woof of a con, it's its own individual, unique instrument. And yeah, he's got some great features about it, like the two prongs that go to these low bell keys, and there's no ribs. There's individual posts for every key, so it really resonates. And look at that bell. There's no brace here. It's just got one piece here, and even the neck has a post here and a post here, and this is just yeah. So it's got a great scale and sounds easy to play. And another thing that I really like about it, which I told Dave, he told me that I told him the 6 years ago, and I do remember saying that all these new instruments that are made today are so much heavier. This is the same weight as instruments of yesteryear, the same as an SBA, a Mark 6, Yeah, so. I can play really light on it.